Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of Power Book 2 Ghost Season 2, Episode 3. This is an incredible episode where I ended up loving it in spite of a lot of things that were actually kind of wrong throughout it.
There was a lot packed into this episode.
I really like that. I
Yeah.
like that they're not holding back. We have characters who we are used to seeing just kind of sit around and not be significant to the story at all, like actually start to do things, and that makes me smile. It makes me very okay, that looked kind of terrifying, but
It was
I'm
a big
happy.
Zeke episode. There was a lot going on with him, and I was glad to see that because he's been around this whole time, but
Yeah.
he hasn't always had the most to do. And there were some really good questions that have kind of come into play with him now. With the number one being, the family needs to clue him in more on what is going on so that he's able to properly sort of prepare for stuff.
We have so much about Zeke to talk about. We got to talk about, of course, your guy Kane, all sorts of other important
Oh,
things.
yeah.
But of course, that subscribe button is there for you guys, and we want you to smash it, hit it, do whatever you need to do to make sure you are here. Every week we are talking about Power Book 2 Ghost. We also have Power Book 4 Force coming up.
Yeah, February. Also, we're covering Dexter, we're covering Succession. We got Cobra Kai coming up at the end of the month. It's already coming up at the end
Oh,
of the
man.
month. I love Cobra Kai. Also, follow us over on Instagram, Matt and Jess TV. Okay, where do you want to start? I
I
want to start with Kane.
shocked. Everybody get shocked,
I
everybody.
know. Okay, so if you've been at our channel for a while, you know Kane is my guy. Okay, I got some questions about Kane. So
Yeah.
there's been actually questions in the fandom for a little while about Kane, if Monet and Lorenzo are really his parents. And recently I watched a live with Courtney Kemp. I think it was like a few days ago, it wasn't that long ago, where she squashed one of those questions, which is that Monet is actually Kane's biological mother. That question is off the table now. She did not answer any questions about Lorenzo. But this episode is making me wonder if Mecca is his dad. And the reason why is that sort of lunch that they had, Monet and Mecca, where they kind of said, we haven't seen each other really connected in the past 24 years. I'm like, Kane looks like he's 24. Oh, could it be? I mean, that would make this show even messier than it already is right now.
It's I think it's an intriguing theory. It's one that holds a heck of a lot of water at the moment. I just think it's we also saw last season, Lorenzo not exactly that fond of Kane on like any level, especially you see Lorenzo and like Diana in this episode. He treats her way differently than he treated Kane, and that of course makes me wonder as well.
Well, also, I don't know how much of a coincidence it is that Mecca's now kind of working with Kane, and it sounds like Mecca has been waiting and trying to find Monet, even found her married name. So I feel like Mecca knows that Kane is her son, or that there's obviously he knows there's some sort of connection
Yeah.
because he saw Kane at Monet's house. But with the amount of sort of internet sleuthing that Mecca did, I think he knows that, Kane is her son. And I don't know. We don't know a lot
Yeah.
about their relationship. We just know this idea that Mecca's been like waiting around for Monet for a long time. So that relationship, it had to have been like the love of his life.
I get love of your life vibes from Mecca when it comes to her. Like I think that is very, very much there. The only thing I worry about with this storyline, because I do think they're probably going in this direction at this point. We just had on Raising Kanan
I
the whole,
know.
here is somebody else who's actually your father storyline twist. And it's like, okay, how many times can we do this, Power Universe?
Maybe at least twice.
Yeah, apparently, clearly.
Maybe. Oh, we'll see. I
Yeah.
mean, it's interesting, and it makes everything a lot more messy, like I said, because we have all these different connections that are going on with the business. And could there be all these other connections with the family? It just seems kind of interesting that everyone around Mecca is getting strangled out or
Yeah.
punched out or whatever, but not Cane. And what is it about him then? Is it just the connection that he has to Monet, or is this possibly his son and he's thinking maybe?
All right. Well, let's get into another angle of your guy Kane here, because Kane's got a lot to do in this episode. So
Yeah.
he's trying to be the new good son here with Monet. He's got his connect in Mecca that he's orchestrated, and Kane's concern is, okay, I don't have Tariq under my thumb. I can't control Tariq in the way that I want, because Mastermind Kane, he's got to get all of his ducks in a row here.
Cane has had a problem with Tariq for the whole time that the
Yes.
show has been on, and it almost, for me in season 1, it felt a bit like Cane felt like he was being replaced in the family by Tariq, that this was not just the job, but also kind of a seat at the table. And then Cane was kind of kicked out of the family, kicked out of the business. Tariq was brought in as sort of, not an adoptive son,
Yeah.
but they're treating him better than Cane is. So, of course, Cane's jealous.
Big time. There's a big time jealousy that's going on here, and Mecca gives him the old school advice, and I feel like we've seen this on like I don't know how many sort of like
Oh,
mob
yeah.
movies. You want to control this person, and you just got to get to their closest ally and make their ally into your ally, and that is where, of course, Brayden comes into play. Brayden really getting his own sort of storyline here that's
Yeah.
separate from Tariq.
Yeah, which is nice. I mean, he's had a bit of that already this season. I like that they're making Brayden his own person, and that, he's not just the character that's there to support Tariq. He's got his own story going on too.
I like that very much. And I thought the scenes with Kane and Brayden were really, really interesting, as, Kane's trying to woo him over. He's trying to manipulate Brayden, make Brayden feel a little bit less than. The one part of it that I found to be very, very weird is get in the car now, Brayden, because I brought along these random women who you don't know. It felt very much like how naive is Brayden at this point? It's like one time I was at Taco Bell and this is not a joke. I was in like Texas. This guy came up to me at one point. He was like
With
trying
a
to be my
car
friend.
full of women?
No, but at the end of the conversation, he was like, "You want to come with me? I can get you girls." And I was just like, what is going on? This just feels really, really weird. And that was my whole thing with Kane. Like, Brayden, you don't get in a car with strangers, and don't get in a car with Kane, and especially don't get in a car with Kane with these strange women, because he's obviously trying to just trick you.
We have seen people get into cars with strange women before in different shows, and bad things have happened. Nothing bad was going to happen here. I mean, Cane was really just trying to set up a better relationship between him and Brayden. But we have to remember that Brayden is young. Like, he's going to be like, what, like 19?
Yeah.
I mean, he's 19, he's in college, he's feeling himself, he's doing a good job at, work and working with the Tariq. He's working with Cane now. He's making a little more money. Like, I get that. I get it.
Brayden, you must learn from your scars of, oh no, I'm going to say her name, Riley from season 1. Remember what happened there, everyone? I'm sorry to bring up that storyline.
Yeah, no, you can see yourself out.
We will never speak of that again. But no, I think Brayden potentially, I don't want to say he's turning on Tariq, but there's
No.
obviously going to be tension between the two of them.
Well, here's the thing, too. You brought up Tariq, and sort of, this all feels like just a big breakdown of communication, because Brayden and Tariq are really close, obviously, and Brayden tried to bring up a little bit about what is going on, that there's more money to be made, maybe to work more with Cane. If Tariq was just a little more honest about what is going on, I'm not saying he needs to bring up all the murder that's happening or anything like that, but he can bring Brayden in just enough, with enough truth, so that Brayden really understands why he shouldn't be working as closely as he wants to with Cane, and that would fix the problem. And it's the same with what's going on with Lauren. Tariq is just not communicating enough with Lauren. Every time Lauren's around, it's the same scenes. We have the same scene from last week. They're together. He gets a phone call. She gets pissy. Like, it's the same thing over and over again. You just need to give her something. Yeah. And in this episode, he gave her something. He gave her enough, and it worked. So he needs to sort of just start communicating, give enough, but not everything. You know what I mean?
Listen, Tariq, I know you are looking to us for advice on how to handle your relationships in your life.
I'm on here giving Tariq advice. He doesn't exist.
Yeah, see, that's... Listen, Tariq, in my headcanon, you are watching this video right now. We are here to help you. You need to trust Brayden. Brayden is your guy. Brayden has gone through a lot with you already. Yeah. He can handle it. Listen, he has put up with Trace as a brother for his entire life. He will be good for you.
Yeah, because the one thing that I don't want to see play out, but I think is going to play out this way, and it's, again, down to the communication, is I don't want to see Tariq play out Brayden to get information about Sweeney, because I think if Tariq just asks Brayden will give him whatever he wants. He doesn't care about Sweeney at all. He cares about his friendship with Tariq. And if there's a way to screw over Sweeney, I think that Brayden would be fine with it. So I'm really hoping that Tariq is just going to tell him what's going on, tell him what he needs to be able to get his sister back, and Brayden will help him.
Now we get into my guy, Rashad Tate. And I don't know why he's my guy now, because this is the thing. I hate Tate with every fabric of my being, and yet I love everything about Tate. I love how smug he is. I love how, oblivious he is to certain things. I love how he thinks he is king when he is just, a city councilman. And here's the thing, though, Tate. As much fun as I have watching you, how are you going to be okay with, giving Tariq 2 favors? You gave him 2 different things. First, you gave him the meeting, with CPS. Then you have the meeting with Yaz. And he hasn't done anything for you yet. The Tate I know, the smug, jerky Tate, would not have let that second thing happen without getting something in return first.
I agree. I mean, I think the real issue for Tate is that he just is in this position that he needs Tariq. He really needs him, and some of that desperation is coming out a little bit.
There is not a man more desperate than Rashad Tate, and I mean desperate in every shape or form. That scene with him and Carrie, Tate, no.
Okay, so we need to talk about what's going on with Yaz. So we had this scene where Tariq was talking to the Child Protective Services, and she's all, listen, you can get anything with influence and power and money, but you can't get access to kids like that. And I was just like, this meeting was set up by Tate, which is all money and influence. What are you talking about? And then he gets this second meeting where he gives Yaz this bear that has this secret burner phone in it, that if she needs to call him, that she can call him with this phone. And I'm just going to say, okay, I do not have really any experience with protective services or anything like that. I do have a couple that went through where they were going through adoption, and they ended up, the adoption fell through because the biological grandmother came out. They were able to find her, and that at that point in fostering and, child protective services, they wanted to keep biological families together. So if I, am just uneducated about this, let me know in the comments. But watching the show, my question is, why is Yaz not allowed to talk to her brother? Because sort of on paper, he's this, good kid, has no criminal background. He's in college. He's doing very well. He's a responsible kid. And he's of age. He's 19 years old. So why are they not allowed to talk? I understand the whole, okay, listen, you can't have a kid in college dorm room. Okay, sure. but you're not allowed to call your brother? I don't understand this. Why they wouldn't want to keep some sort of family connection open.
The thing that
what is going on? Let me know in the comments.
It is a situation where, okay, I am really on the same page with you, and I'm also just gonna say this. Was there anything that really came from having this be like clandestine in some shape or form? Because it's like Tariq would still be driven to get Yaz to come and live with him, even if, you know, he was still talking to her. Like that, this would not just invalidate his need to try to get an apartment or any other thing. Like the only thing that comes out of this, let's hide the burner phone thing, is apparently you've got like Lauren, who is now like complicit in it because she's like going to the bathroom or something. It's just like, we didn't actually need any of this to happen.
No, we could have lost the burner phone thing. And I think that Child Protective Services would probably be in some sort of contact with Tariq. I mean, he has said, yeah, okay, what do I need to do to get my sister? Oh, yeah. You need to have a job and you need to have an apartment. Okay, cool. I'm going to have those things. Yaz is not in prison. She's with a foster family. And it's just very strange to me that he has to go through this type of, I don't know, sneakiness to get some sort of a meeting where he can see his sister for any reason, just to say hello and give her a bear. It's kind of strange.
Lauren, it is now the time where I am going to speak to you. We've already spoken to Tariq, and I know you guys watch these videos actually together, so this is the perfect time. Listen, I know Tariq helped you out. I know he let you in a little bit. He let you spend some time with him and Yaz. He didn't actually tell you anything about what he was doing up on that roof or anything like that. There's still a lot of questions you need to be asking here.
Tariq brilliantly smokescreened what was going on up on that roof by being like, look over here. Here's my little sister. Look at all the stuff that's going on over here. Now don't you feel like you're part of something? It was so brilliant. Good for you, Tariq.
Okay, we're going to get to my surprisingly favorite part of this entire episode, and this is the first time I have ever said this in connection to Zeke Cross, because usually he does just sort of feel like the character who's in like a completely different basketball video game with like people talking about generic basketball things, but I really, really like this whole scene of him being questioned. The moment he like tries to pull out the PBA card and it is Ramirez's name, this is one of two major times watching television this weekend, and I'm not going to say the other time right now, but there's one of two major times I have been like genuinely like gobsmacked and was like, ah, at the screen. I was like that with this because I totally forgot about the Ramirez part of this until that very second.
No, I had forgotten about it as well, and then he pulled out that card and I was like, oh, here comes the connection. But also, how many cards did Ramirez probably give out during his career to people? I mean, is there a connection? Isn't there? I mean, we know there really isn't a connection for Zeke. He doesn't know anything. So technically, it's just a guy with a card. But we know that this detective is so down the hole to try to pin something on these guys. So he's going to find a way to make that connection.
I love how much of a hot mess this story is becoming. It is glorious.
Yeah, it is.
We have now Carrie as the lead suspect, apparently, whose now alibi has been completely destroyed by Zeke, who is just in total deny mode. And then he ends up like getting even more screwed over because Monet does not give him any information.
This is where we get back to the beginning of the video where I was like, Monet, they need to tell him something. They can't just be this lost with this stuff. He can't be this lost. He needs to know something. It's not protecting him to leave him in the dark, because then this type of stuff happens when he could have had information and been able to fix this and not pulled out that card.
This is where I'm hoping we see Zeke really do some investigating of his own and sort of become more of his own person, as opposed to just sort of a puppet who is being controlled by Monet or other people in his life. Like, this story has potential now to be so interesting, because I'm going to go out on a limb. Well, this is not even a limb here, because I'm sure a lot of you agree. I'm sorry, Zeke. you ain't playing in the NBA. Something bad's gonna happen at some point this season because, like, the odds of you being drafted by a team in New York or in the New York area, and you don't want to play for the Knicks anyway, but, like, the odds of you being drafted in, like, these two cities is very, very low. They're not gonna write a story where, oh, you've been drafted to play for Sacramento, and then you're on the other side of the world and you're never on the show anymore. Bad things are gonna happen. You're gonna be stuck in New York, Zeke. I'm sorry.
And that's okay, because we like Zeke. Listen, Davis is going to get him out of whatever he needs to be in. And I just want to thank the show for not giving us another Cooper Saxe bedroom scene, and that they just gave us the whatever was going on afterwards where he had that sheet tied around his neck. I do not need to know what is going on here. However, this story is also getting very interesting, where it looks like Diana is really trying to find a way to get her dad out of jail.
Yeah.
And Cooper Saxe has maybe found a way to make that happen. So messy.
Kind of like whatever Saxe was doing in that bedroom where he was on, like, the other side of the bed. Just, Saxe, you freaky. All right, well, beyond any of that, Saxe, listen, my guy's got some interesting stuff coming up now.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like this is all because of, like, a bad prosecutor in the past or something that was on that case.
I am looking forward to seeing Lorenzo get out of jail and see how messy this is all gonna get.
Yeah. Also, how has this not been picked up before Saxe? Like, if Saxe is the person discovering all of this, how terrible is the entire New York prosecution at this point?
Okay, listen, Saxe is not likable, but he seems to be very good at his job.
I suppose.
He's your guy.
He is
Saxe and Tate. These are Matt's guys.
Listen.
Kate is my guy.
I can't wait until this is what's going to happen now. They're going to make Power of Book 5 influence at some point in, like, 2030. And this is only going to be for me. And it's just going to be like Tate and Saxe just running around being awful every week for an hour. But okay, all right. What did you guys think about this episode? Where do you think things are going? Is Cane really Mecca's son? Give us your theories, your dramatic music, so much more. And hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and we will see you here next time.